Hi everyone, SoulServer17 here, like for this as usual. I don't own the picture, not pay video, and I basically made the thumbnail. Okay, so here's the thing. I basically been trying to figure out where part two basically is gonna go and how it's gonna go. So it took me a while. It took me a couple of days, but I kept on getting distracted, kept on basically watching YouTube, and honestly, in truth, I started playing an MMO recently. So yeah. Also, just to let you know, if I have to pause the video and while the phone's ringing down, while I'm downstairs, it is because my mom's back in the hospital and my dad wants to know when my mom is done with something, with whatever she's doing. He asked the doctor to basically tell him, so basically, I guess he can go see her. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to answer the phone anytime it rains, I guess. So, yeah, I just want to let you know that. Oh, and also, you may hear my dad mowing the lawn outside. Well, on the tractor. But, yeah. Anyways, let's just get this started. This is part two. So, I tried to make this earlier, the day after I made part one, but I just didn't know where the story was gonna go. So yeah, let's get this all. Like I said, let's get this started. So, as I last remember, I met Azia. I met with Issei. I basically got my arm basically destroyed, well, shot off, and from the elbow down, that part of my arm is gone, and basically, I got Virgil's Dante's powers, reflexes from Spider-Man, and, well, regeneration from basically Wolverine. So yeah. I also killed the devil from the old devil faction who had basically big reds or great reds armor made out of his scales. Basically the armor was made out of his scales. So yeah. And basically Orpheus gave me a sacred gear, basically being my new arm, and basically Drake's soul was inside of this sacred gear, making technically me the Red Dragon of Infinity. So yeah. Anyways, I actually became Infinity Dragon. I had to at least, or I'll die. And now I'm basically again sort of looks like Yamato. Or yeah, so Virgil sword. Yamato. I'm just gonna call it Yamato. God, I need now. Basically though, my mind can't make me think. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it Yamato. It's Yamato. So, yeah. Anyways, so we're gonna start that off. When I was naming it, basically I named it Yamato. So yeah. Anyways, so as Muramasa is looking basically at me and at the sword, he goes like, "Huh, why do you name that? Well, the sword of that?" He goes, "Well, somehow in some way, I would tell him you basically replicated it." He goes, "What do you mean replicated?" He goes like, "Well, this ain't a real sword. What I gave it a name of, it was, well, a name basically from how should I say it? A video game. That's what I remember." Which he goes, one of those things that you youngsters play. Eh, tell me about it. He goes like, "Well, I'll only tell you the brief thing. This sword was used by the demon named Sparta that sealed away the demon world with it." Which, he just blinks and just, well, Orpheus just says like, "Wait, what?" Like, "Yep." And basically this sword, wielded by Virgil, well, it can basically slice through anything quick when Virgil swings it, and plus it can basically when he basically slash open portals with it. Which, when they hear that, they're like, how so? As I just basically show them, it's like down and then across. So they're just like, huh. Which basically then, well, Murmoss just starts laughing. Which I'm like, you okay? He was like, to think I made that sword look like this. To think I made the sword look like it. It's a fine name then. I was just curious. Which basically, Orph's just like, yeah, how strange. I'm like, anyways, yeah, that's what I'm naming it. But, I don't know how to wield a sword, and, I mean, I could probably go to my Kendo class, Kendo club, and ask them to at least help me. But I gotta rely on basically my instincts for a bit with Virgil's techniques. Maybe even use Dante since I got, their powers, sage say. Which, basically, Orpheus is like, interesting. So, you keeping these powers? I'm like, for now, yeah. But you already know I'm basically part demon now. And a dragon. Does that even make me human, though? Which, basically, Muramasa goes like, kid, it doesn't matter if you are basically a dragon, devil, angel, fallen, or demon. As long as you keep your heart as a human, and know you were born human to begin with, that's all that matters. Besides, you may still be human. You never know. Which I'm like, yeah, true. Oh, and before you go, Muramasa leaves for a few minutes, and then basically comes back out with a book. He goes, here's an intermediate level, basically, of swordsmanship. Basically, there's different forms of basically what a samurai will use in there, but, well, I think you'll make your own style. So, enjoy basically learning while you can before you, make it. I'm like, thanks, Muramasa, and, about the payment, where she basically holds up his hand like, just make a legend out of that sword. And two, it was an honor working on a blade made from the tooth of the infinite dragon. I do not know what power that sword holds, but I can't wait to see. I'm like, thanks. He goes, yeah, just get going. So basically, I would leave along with Orpheus, which basically, when we basically leave, I'm like, so, how do I basically, make this sword disappeared? Disappear? She's like, well, I could teach you something real quick, a simple, basically, spell for an inventory. Well, that I basically made once, out of boredom, which I never really use anymore, or at all, since I don't really care for anything specifically in the past. Which I'm like, wait, you have an inventory system? Like a video game? She goes, I came up with basically 1,000 years ago. She basically starts blinking and basically looks away. Which I'm like, well, you do have infinite power, so it would make sense you make it a spell to store things. And let me guess, it's also infinite? She goes, yep, and time basically stops in it, so technically you can keep a person alive if you wanted to. And then she just remembers that. She was like, I could have kept you alive before getting you to basically somewhere that could have helped you. But, basically I'm like, yeah, there's a but in it, but we don't know if I will last. If basically I was getting killed by someone else, so I'm glad with my new arm. I mean, I'm kind of glad basically though, basically it looks normal, but I'm gonna have to, try to activate it from time to time. So basically, though, she goes, "Yeah, we don't have time for right now. So here, basically, though, she gives me a mark on my, right, yeah, she gives a mark on my right hand. She goes, this mark will disappear after I just put it on, but this will give you access to the inventory system because I transferred over to you. I can make another one again anytime I want. So all you have to do is basically think of the sword going into it, and the mark would do the rest, alright? Which I would nod, and basically I just, thinking of it, basically putting my sword away, and then it just in a flash it just it disappears. And then I think if it appeared in my right hand or left hand, trying to see what's the limit of it, and it basically will appear basically in whatever one I'm thinking of, which I'm like, got it. Now then, how do I access my most sacred gear? She just, because I think I told you this, but basically you just have to think about it, and well, the magical energy that basically inside your body now will basically go towards and basically activate. So, basically I'm like, okay, so I just have to do something like this, and then I clench my, left, fist, and then all of a sudden it just starts, my, arm starts glowing, and then basically where it was, that looked like skin, now it was basically just a sacred gear. I'm like, huh. So then maybe I just think of putting it away, and then it just, like, that's simple. I think of just taking it out and basically putting it away. He goes, yep. Also, here, just to make this even quicker, as obviously all of a sudden I gain knowledge on, well, how to conceal my aura. Which I'm like, huh? He goes, your aura is mixed between a dragon and basically a demon. And it's a lot. I don't want basically the devils to find out about you just yet, nor angels have fallen. But I know what's gonna happen is gonna be, well, I'm like, how bad could it be? She goes, demon women like power. Which, as soon as I hear that, I'm like, wait, what? She goes, yep, the demon women like power. Well, a lot of females of the supernatural do too, but yeah. I'm like, so, what does that mean? She goes, well, you'll find out. Which I'm like, Orpheus. She goes, come on, let's go. She just gets my shoulder, teleports away. I'm just looking like, Orpheus, please, tell me, how dangerous how dangerous could this be? Am I in danger? She goes, I can't tell you everything, Riku. Hey, hold up. I had to make sure my dog didn't do something. Yes, that was my dog. She has flappy ears. Anyways, so that's what I was saying. Yeah, she basically, I can't tell you everything, Riku. I'm like, oh, come on, Orpheus. I don't want to be in danger. She goes, you're not in danger, but I would recommend try to find someone called Gremory. Well, basically, you already know. He's like, so you mean like Arias? Just, yep, that or the Citri family would be a good idea for you to be a part of. But to be fair, you're stronger than them, so I don't think you could become a part of the Parage, unless we had something like something BS happen. Which I'm like, huh? Why do I feel like I'm gonna make that happen one day? Because I don't know, but I can't wait to see. Also, basically we're in front of your house, so I'm like, oh crap, yeah. But before any more talk could happen, my mom comes out. She goes, sweetie, you're back. I'm like, hi, Mom. And, well, I'm just looking at Orpheus. I'm like, Mom, meet Orpheus. Orpheus, my mom. Which my mom basically looks a little bit shocked, but like, oh my god, you finally have a friend that's a girl. I'm like, yeah. Then she basically, I'm like, why is she not freaking out over my look? In my head, I'm thinking that. And then she's like, also, what happened to you? Like, serious mother mode. I'm like, well, I don't know. I woke up like this. I was basically knocked out, and, it's something I can't lie to my mom, which basically, Orpheus said, I'll explain everything, Riku. Just, well. As then basically my mother looks at Orpheus, and then will nod to her, and he goes like, yes, please, explain to me everything. And Riku, sweetie, can you go inside? I'm like, yeah, Mom. I'm like, looking at Orpheus and saying, I am so sorry for what's about to happen. The reason why I was making such a crappy lie, trying to make up one, because one, never lie to your never lie to your mom. I can't lie to my mother in this, and I should never lie to my mother in this. Hold up. Okay, sorry, but yeah, so she basically somehow could tell, she's like, don't worry, I'll be fine. So yeah, So anyways, Orpheus goes back. I mean, not Orpheus, but I mean, Orpheus just stays. I go in, making sure everything, getting ready for breakfast. I mean, dinner. As then when I hear the door close, we do go to, outside. And basically, as soon as the doors close, my mother basically will look at Orpheus. She goes, "How long has it been since we've seen each other, Orpheus?" Which Orpheus just chuckles and like, "Well, it's been some time. I'm quite surprised that you basically had a human as an adopted son. But I'm actually very happy I got to meet him." Which, that just kind of shocks her. She goes, "You have emotions?" She goes, "Well, your son did the impossible, and I'm actually quite surprised too. I mean, he showed me emotions, and I'm basically having them because of, I'm not treated like a, deadly creature, monster, or something he's afraid of. To be fair, he was not afraid at, what I saw from the very beginning." Which my mother would just chuckle. Which, basically, though, that's like him. And then basically Orpheus goes, "But Lilith, I have to tell you something." Which she goes, "Huh? What is it, Orpheus?" And then she'll explain everything that's happened. She goes, "Wait, so my baby had basically these powers and didn't tell me?" She goes, "Well, to be fair, he had them only when he was in danger, and depends on the danger, depends on the powers he's given. I don't know basically how dangerous basically I was, but I have a feeling basically if I basically try to fight him and go all out, I may be in an endless battle with him for all of eternity." Which that would have just shocked my mom, but then she's like, but who's the devil who basically destroyed my baby's arm? As then a little bit of her aura comes off. She goes, "Oh, don't worry, he's dead. Your son killed him." Which she's just like, she stops her aura and then she's like, "Huh?" Like very confused. She's like, "Oh, I explained what happened to him. I mean, I never told you basically what he did afterwards." So after basically, she also explains the part where she couldn't do anything because she was worried she may hit me and may die. Yeah, and then basically what I did to this basically devil of the old devil faction, my mother like, "That's my son. Oh my god, I'm so proud of him." Moment, and she's like, and then I swept drop on Orpheus' head, like, "Okay, first minute you're worried and you want to kill that devil, and now basically you're happy for your son to basically show power to be a devil." You always confuse me, Lilith. But that's what I kind of like about you. You're interesting to be around. Which, based on my mom's, basically just stops doing what she was doing and looks at her. He's like, "But my son." He goes, "Yes, I gave him a sacred gear due to his lost arm, and basically, here's another thing. The Red Dragon Emperor is not the only Red Dragon no more. Well, at least, in a sense, not Emperor, at least." Which she basically is like, "Huh?" He goes, "Well, we both know the Red Dragon of Domination basically has probably already found a new host, which, I know is the Red Dragon that we know as Domination is basically a part of your son." Before basically my mother could say anything, Orpheus holds up her hand and be like, "Let me explain." He's from a different timeline. A timeline where, the Red Dragon Emperor at the time died due to self-sacrifice, and if the White Dragon, the Red Dragon, didn't fight no more, maybe only once, and that was it. The White Dragon's still around, but the Red Dragon refused to ever find a new host. So technically speaking, he technically died in everyone's mind. Which my mom just blinking, and then basically Orpheus will say, "So a being that I don't know came to existence with his soul and told me to basically be a part of basically his sacred gear. So now the Red Dragon is called the Red Dragon of Infinity, with, your son at least." Which my mom just slowly nods. We don't know what basically this, Red Dragon could do. He could have multiple abilities because of him being Infinity. So, I'll have to help, train your son, or at least have some, have him go into a devil family, because I don't trust the angels very much. And I don't trust many devils either, but the only one I could think of would be a good fit is his family. Either one of them will work. Which, my mom just suddenly, has a glare and be like, what do you mean? Just, you forgot, did you? About your sister's husband? There's a girl with red hair and green eyes at this school. Well, your half-sister at least. Basically, Orpheus has a little smile. Basically, my mom's eyes widen, and then basically she's like, he better not join her, which basically Orpheus will say he will need their protection, because if he doesn't have them, multiple different devils will try to come after him, since technically he is a dragon and a demon. She goes, wait, demon? And then basically she will proceed to explain everything what I've told her. About Dante, Virgil's powers, along with Spider-Man's and Wolverine's regeneration. And then she's like, which my mom just does a, yeah, you're right. He'll need some basically high-class devil family's protection. One of the basically 42 pillars. I hate that you're right. Which, basically Orpheus will nod and be like, well, you did change your hair to be brown and brown eyes, but what happened to your basically, white hair and basically blue eyes? Basically my mom would just sigh, but like, she had to change it just in case other devils would basically try to find, them, just because they were banished from the devil, faction, because they wanted to. Well, at least her husband, she would say. Basically, Orpheus would not be like, and let me guess, stepmom? Which basically my mom just laughs and was like, just because my mother, basically my father were together while basically my father was with that woman, doesn't make her my stepmom, since she never cared for me. Just true, as what I could tell. Well, as I could tell from your story, your father never wanted to marry that woman to begin with. He loved your mother to death. To the point where, as she closed her eyes and then opened them and just started blinking. To the point where he actually steals his devil aura and actually is living a human life here. Only 4 houses away. Which then basically my mother chuckles. She goes, yes, Dad didn't want to be away from me any longer. He basically got got a divorce with that woman. To be fair, I'm actually quite surprised. Which, basically, Orpheus just shrugs me like, well, anyways, gotta get going. Have fun. Also, you should let basically Riku stay home tomorrow. He lost a lot of blood. Which my mom basically would nod and be like, thank you, Orpheus, though. Which Orpheus just sighs and be like, I'm the one that basically put him in danger. You shouldn't thank me. But basically my mom says, yes, but you're the one who basically saved him. So I thank you. Which she has a small smile and be like, yes. So when Orpheus leaves, we do basically head to Orpheus' point of view, as in we have basically a fallen angel on top of a building. I should just sigh and be like, where's the fun? I mean, finding that guy was really fun. I mean, the different powers that he had. I mean, he did push me on my toes for a bit. I mean, not bad looking for a kid. Whereas then Orpheus was like, so you like Riku Agane that much, huh? Basically, she looks and then Orpheus is right behind her, but she sees her with a little bit of a smile. She's like, Orpheus, which basically she puts up a hand. She was like, don't worry, Fallen. She goes, my name's Renaer. She goes, well, Renaer, I have a question to ask of you. She goes, sure. She goes, well, I want you to basically become a spy for me. She goes, what? She goes, well, here's the thing. You betrayed Azazel for Coca-Bill because of that order I found out a couple of days ago. Which, basically, she gulps. She goes, so, why not basically send word to basically Azazel about it? That Coca-Bill basically, well, basically kind of like convince you, and basically through basically means of, through other fallen angels that basically abandon him, and saying you have no choice, but you're basically gathering information for him. So you work for him, but you also tell him you're also working for me. Which, she's like, what would you need me for? She goes, oh, I'm actually quite curious. How would a fallen angel react if I basically helped train her? How strong will she get? Or, well, he. And I want to see basically if you can keep up with somebody to give him a little bit of a challenge every now and then. She goes, who? Riku Hagane. Besides, it'd be nice to have it'd be nice to have somebody around to basically, to test him. Since basically most of the people are going to be weaker than him. Which she's like, huh? So she explained what happened. She was like, I have no choice in the matter. She goes, oh no, you do. Which Renera just sighs, like, fine. She goes, alright, well then, come on. We got basically some basic stuff to help you with. Or if it's just walking and then, floats away. Which Renera follows. She was like, I'm gonna die. But for some reason, she's smiling at this. Yeah, I'm doing this. I'm making Renera become a recurrent enemy for me. Somewhat. So yeah, so in a sense, too, my father kept asking me what happened to me, and why did I change so much, which I'm like, which my mom just says, I'm like, sweetie, I'll explain, and, Riku, you're gonna you're gonna stay home tomorrow, alright? I'm like, okay, Mom. Which, basically, when my dad looks at her, we're like, what do you mean you'll explain? She just says, I'll explain after, basically, dinner. Which, yeah, we eat. She basically goes, she tells my dad what happened. My dad is shocked. Well, I'm not there, by the way. So, I'm upstairs, basically, just saying because I want to sleep. My dad is shocked, worried, angry, proud. He's a whole mixture of emotions, which he sighs me like, I do think we have to basically start looking at those documents then, just in case. Which she'll nod. And then, he may be adopt a son, but he will be our next heir. Which my father would just chuckle like, we will not abandon him just because we'll have to make a new, basically, devil. Because of that stupid council. He is our son no matter what, even if he is adopted. We will not abandon him to the crows. Or, basically, my mom says, to the dogs, which he'll nod. So, in a sense, hold up. Alright, sorry about that, everyone. Had to go do something, but yeah. So, what happens is very simple. Yeah. While that is happening, I'm, asleep. And basically, give me a minute. Okay, sorry, I had something that felt like a tickle in my throat, so I was about to cough. But yeah, anyways. So I was just saying. Yeah, while that was happening, I was asleep. So, while I'm sleeping, I'm like, huh? Where am I? Which I just hear someone goes like, huh. So, you who wanted power is here to basically talk to us. Which, basically, I hear another voice like, oh, come on, Virgil. Don't really have to basically act like that. Let the kid be. And basically he's like, Dante. It's like, what? It's like, it's serious. We don't even know how our consciousness even got here. First we're 1 minute fighting basically, and wow. He's like, I get the underworld, what humans call it, or HE double hockey sticks. He's like, yes. And now we're here. Well, that's fine, really, what I think. Which he just sighs, and I'm like, hi? Wait, you're Virgil and Dante? How do you even get in my head? Which they're like Virgil and Dante were like, we have no idea. But anyways, seems like you have a power, Dante says, which Virgil will be like, yes, more mine than, my brother's. Based on yeah. So, explain to us the situation. He was like, okay. So I kind of explained the situation to them about me. I didn't know what they meant, so I kind of even told them about my power, and they say how I'm reincarnated and all that. Which Dante's like, wow, that's a lot. Which Virgil will just say, so you have a lot of power in your hands, but the fact is you can't use it because it's only in dangerous situations, and only some of this power you may be able to keep. It's like, yes, and I have basically both yours and your brother's power. Which Dante looks at Virgil, Virgil looks at me, like, just both nod, like, we're gonna train you then. I'm like, huh? Train? Why? Like, which Dante was like, kid, why you acting so nervous? I'm like, when I know from my memories, you guys take on things that shouldn't even be possible to take on. But hey, you're Nephilims, and compared to the demon basically followers of Sparta, I don't know how strong he is, but compared to what you guys can do, I don't want to anger both of you, so I'm kind of shocked a bit. Which Virgil would not understand. He was like, I'll not show you any of my sword techniques because we looked, or should we say, we both heard what you wanted to do. Make your own fine technique. So, we'll show you and help you create your own fine technique. But you should learn the basics afterwards. Before you, before I start basically fighting anyone basically with a sword and such, right? Which Virgil will not. Basically, don't be like, true. Also, I use basically a heavier sword than my bro here. So, do you even have one? I'm like, yeah. So I call upon my sword, Yamato. Which Dante just blinks, looks at Virgil. Virgil looks at him, and they both look at the sword, like, huh. Did not see that one coming, right, Virgil? Which Virgil will nod. I'm like, heh, yeah. Kind of made from the Infinite Dragon's tooth. Which Dante is like, okay, I think he beat our father's sword on that one. Or maybe they're based are stronger. We'll have to compare that later. But first, training. And time will move quicker here, so basically it'll feel like days have passed, but only been like a couple of hours. I'm like, huh. Basically, how do you even get it in my head? Which, basically, I just hear a voice like, that would be my doing. I'm like, wait a minute. You're that freaking god that basically summoned me by accident. He's like, yes. I basically brought them here to at least help you train basically your demonic powers. So have fun. Also, basically, it'll come natural to you make your own fine style between both Virgil and Dante's, but yeah, they're right. You really should basically, learn basically from the books and basically from your Kendo class just in case for the basics. I'm like, whatever. So yeah, so after that, basically, only probably in my mind, 10 years pass. Basically because I kept on trying to master everything. But when I mean master, I mean physically, in my mind. I mean, try to basically make sure I got everything down before they leave. I only had this one chance, so yeah. So basically, basically Virgil and Dante were like, just sigh of relief, just made it on time, Dante says, or Virgil not, but yes, he kept on trying to master everything because he knows we weren't going to be around again. Well, for a very long time, which Dante was like, yep. But hey, he basically has a combination between us two's personalities, well, to some degree at least. He's like, yes. He basically takes your goofy attitude with my seriousness. Only when he's fighting, at least. Which basically Dante nods. So I'm like, I guess I should basically say thanks for training me, guys, and I gotta find basically a gunsmith that can make your guns ebony and ivory, basically Dante. He's like, meh, you just have to find your own. But hey, maybe you'll basically find a weapon that can basically suit you. Yeah, maybe. Anyways, thanks again for basically your training. He goes, yep. Oh, and your hair basically will turn white naturally over time, the more demonic power you use. Which Virgil was like, you may not be basically a child of Sparta, but having our powers does make you a part of the family in a way. So, I begrudgingly would say this. If you need our help, just basically, well, uses your sword to try to call on us. Oh, and basically, you can use my son's technique with your demonic energy to make them ethereal arm. He was like, oh, yeah, it's kind of like astral projection, but yeah, ethereal, whatever you can call it. It's like, thanks though. He goes, yes, it'll come in handy. I'm like, yeah, I know it will. But anyways, as I'm starting to wake up, Dante's like, have fun and don't stress about much. Just keep your cool on most things, and you could be able to basically win anytime. And Virgil will say, get stronger and have more power next time we see you. I'm like, yeah. See you later, basically, stick in the mud, and, well, pizza lover. As I just disappear, which Dante's like, I like pizza a little bit. I like pizza. So what? Which basically he looks over at Virgil, and, yeah, irritated mode. Which he was like, tell you are one. He's like, shut it! He takes out Yamato and tries to fight for Dante. As basically all of a sudden they're cutting into his back, and it wasn't even a second went by. So yeah, they continue to fight. Anyways, so when I wake up, I just stretch. I'm like, okay. So, it's like 7. I'm like, breakfast. So, going downstairs, and I basically hear my mom like, basically, yes, Riku will not be coming in due to basically, he threw up basically last night. We don't know what happened, but he seems to have a little bit of a stomach virus. So, he'll be staying home. Which basically I can hear basically whatever basically it is, like principal's office, basically secretary, like, alright, I'll tell his teachers, basically, and basically, and she's like, thank you. So, yeah, she hands up the phone, she sees me, she's like, Riku, breakfast is about to be ready. I just wanted to call up basically your school and let them know. I'm like, alright, thanks. She goes, yep. Well, time to eat. Well, as soon as it's ready, basically I'm like, yeah, where's that? He's like, oh, he had to basically go early into work. Something about basically something happened and he has to fix it. I'm like, seriously, doesn't that company always need him help for everything? Which basically my mother just chuckles and nods. So I basically eat breakfast. My mom then saying, well, basically you can go out for a run, or basically do whatever. Just take your time and basically make sure you drink plenty of water and basically get something sugary in you from time to time today. I'm like, right. Basically, I'm thinking, does she know? No, our person would never have told her. Right? I'm like, hey, Mom. She goes, She goes, thanks. She was like, from what? He goes, for everything. I don't know why, I just felt like saying that to you. I just have a smile. She basically just comes up and hugs me like, basically, Riku, it's fine. Don't worry. No, just go on, do your morning routine that you normally would do on the weekends. I'm like, yeah, I know. So I go upstairs, change into basically some running clothing, and do that. I start, when I leave, my mom just sighs me like, I have a feeling my boy's gonna find out something today. Well, or at least do something. And the devils will find out about him. Remember, the whole entire situation between, Issei and Freed, the conflict has happened. So Azia would be escaping. She would meet Issei, basically, when I'm basically running. They would do their little hangout thing, and then when Renere was deadbeat tired, but when she heard Azia used to escape, she has to go after her. She wants to basically, she wants to see basically what she'll do. So, yeah, but give me a minute. Okay, so, my dad may be coming up now, and, I'm in my room, but he may come up and open up my door and start talking to me, so I'm gonna have to, be like this, just so I can basically hit the pause button. But anyways, but yeah, so I'm on the run, taking a jog, and I basically am lasting a lot longer, which I'm just, like, a little bit surprised. But not really, since, Dante and Virgil explained it to me. But it's like, I'm basically lasting a lot longer than I thought. So I would say it's like, maybe around like lunch, after lunchtime, Like after Issei and Ozzy ate, and they went to the arcade, so like 1-ish, 1:30. Basically, I'm getting near a park just to stop my jog, and I did also eat something and drink something. So, I'm just I'm just walking to the park like, man, there's a park area nearby. Well, with a fountain and everything, seats there. I wonder, I should probably stop by and take a little bit of a rest and head back home. But man, a couple hours of just jogging. So I'm just walking, and then, wow. I just see basically when I get there, I see Issei in the water, and then I just see basically all of a sudden, Renair, basically, the fallen angel, which I saw the light spear she made and she was about to throw it, which Issei doesn't see it, but I just ran towards Issei, but she already threw it, which I'm like, crap! So all of a sudden though, basically, I basically just, looking at it, and I just have a determined look, like, I don't care at the moment. So all of a sudden, basically, I activated my sacred gear, but then all of a sudden, it starts glowing, as in another, basically, it looks like a second arm appears over it, and I'm like, basically saying to myself, please work! So I just basically, throw up my arm as basically the projection, or basically the ethereal arm just suddenly grabs towards it, and then I grab the sword, not the sword, the light spear out of the air. Which everyone in shock, as then it gets pulled towards me, as then I just basically with my right fist, I just punched the light spear, breaking it, which I'm thinking to myself, demon strength and dragon strength. Horrible combination for my enemies. So yeah. So, basically, I get in front of Issei, which basically he's like, Riku? Like, it's Agane, but yeah, I'm here, Issei. He goes, I didn't saw that kid about to hit me, but thanks. Which she goes, so the cutie is here. I'm like, really? You're flirting with me now? She goes, like, just whatever you are, Fallen. She goes, the name's Renair, by the way. Which I'm like, yeah, whatever. Why are you basically attacking Issei? And then all of a sudden I see Ozzy, and then basically, I was a little bit annoyed and a little bit angry. But now, just like, and also why you're holding Nausea. As I basically, unknowingly, based on for my rage, my little bit of my power, but my aura is showing. Renair is in shock, but it also is intrigued because it feels like a dragon, but also something else she can tell. Because of Orpheus told her, basically she turned me into a dragon. Like her, an infinite dragon, but still, half of one. So she's like, oh, nothing much, just came here to pick up basically the runaway child. He was like, and I'm like, and basically we have plans for her. But, if only someone would try to stop us. How about you? However, that weird powers you have. I'm like, what are you gonna do to her? She goes, come and find us. I bet you can. And then basically, Ozzy like, Riku, and then just disappears. I'm like, ugh. Basically, I'm annoyed, basically angry. Basically my aura is like kind of, coming off a little bit more. As the water itself is kind of rippling, which Issei is like, Riku, which I'm just looking at him, and but when I see him, I calm down. I'm like, Issei, I don't know what's going on, but get to safety. I'll get Ozzy. Which I just start running off before he even says anything. I then basically call up my mom, but like, Mom's gonna be out for a lot longer than I thought. The run got a little bit, got a little bit basically more complicated. She's like, wait, what? I'm like, don't worry, I'll be home. Bye. As I basically hang up. I'm like, I'm not gonna let basically whatever they're gonna do to Ozzy happen. So, Issei runs back over to the barrage, and basically everything will go exactly the same for him. Meanwhile, me, it's taking me a couple hours, I don't know where they will be. I'm like, come on! I don't know. I just runned off without even thinking. It's not like I'm gonna know where they are. It's not like I've been there before. And besides, they're not gonna basically be in a freaking church. I'm like, a church? As I smack myself, which basically I just hear be like, you figured it out finally. Which I'm like, huh? Who said that? Ray Sage? Which I don't hear it again, which I'm like, weird. Doesn't matter. So I start running. So, Issei, Kaneko, and Kiba are on the way, but basically with my speed and stuff, I'm a lot faster than them. So I would get there first. So I don't care. I summon out the sword and basically just jump and kick open the door. I'm like, knock knock, and kick it open. So basically, when I land on my feet, I'm like, okay, where's Azia? So basically I'm looking around, it's the exact same looking way it did in canon, but then I hear like, huh? You're no devil! Where are you? I'm like, wait, oh, where the heck are you? I was like, the name's Freed. Well, it doesn't really matter why you're here. I'm just a little bit bored, so I'll basically fool around. I'll play around with you for a bit, kid. Like, weird. And also, no. He's like, not that way. I'm gonna basically watch you die. As basically he pulls out his gun and light sword and basically try to shoot me. Me basically automatic, like, sheath the sword, cutting the bullets. Basically, I'm like, yep, they're right. I do need to learn the basics in this outside my mind. But this is worth for now, at least. But you're like, huh, quick. Like, yeah. And also, that little puny gun with basically multiple bullets, how many bullets do you need? Seriously, are you really that bad of an aim? Which, he's like, I'm basically like, how dare you? I was like, I dare so much because I don't care. So tell me, why are you here? And are you working for the Fallens? He's like, oh? Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Doesn't really matter, does it? You're gonna die. Which I'm just like, I'd roll my eyes and be like, man, you're annoying. So, all of a sudden, basically one thing pops in my head. Basically an image of multiple different things, but then basically a weird looking fruit. And it says, the Gumma Gumma no Mi. Which I'm like, huh? Basically, it saying made will turn basically into a rubber man. Which basically the name shows me hockey, different types of hockey. Observation, conquerors, and armament. Which I'm like, whoa. So, when I spent, space death, I dodged a bullet basically that nearly hit me in the head. Which I'm like, okay. Well, basically I do feel the effects happen. I'm like, huh. Did I become rubber? So right when basically right when Kaneko, Kiba, and Issei come, Free is like, die! And shoots the bullet. And basically all of a sudden when it hits me in the chest, Issei's like, Riku! Kaneko and Kiba were shocked. But all of a sudden they see basically, it looks like the bullet's just stretching basically my chest area. And made me just smirk. And then I just make it lunge forward, hitting Freed's gun. Basically, you have destroyed. It's like, what the? I'm like, that's actually kind of funny. Which he's like, how did you? He goes, meh. Because I just pulled my cheek. We're like, I'm a rubber man. And then we just let it go. And basically just, that whole type of Luffy scene. When you first see it in One Piece. Don't know the name, don't know basically, the series, just trying to make a little bit of the reference. But yeah. So, Freed's like, okay, now that is bull. I'm like, you mean BS? Like, yes. Basically, all of a sudden, I just disappeared at a flash of speed. Basically, breaking Freed's sword, kicking him in the stomach, sending him flying into the wall. He's like, I didn't sign up for this. I'm like, wow, you can't take a hit. Kind of pathetic for basically a grown man. He's like, I'll find out who you are. I'll deal with you later. And then he just, throws the flashbang on the ground. Give him a minute. Alright, so basically after he throws the flash, everyone gets blinded, and then he's gone. And I'm like, coward. Which, basically I look behind, I'm like, well, why are you guys here? Also, he said, did I tell you to go home? He's like, no, I'm not gonna leave Ozzy behind. Besides, you need the backup. I'm like, what am I gonna do with you, Hudo? I just look at him, basically, I'm like, and I see the determination in his eyes, I'm like, fine. Basically, though, for some reason, then I basically am, observation hockey, basically, I activated, which I'm looking around and such, and then I say basically where Kaneko would have hit that stand where basically where basically there would have been a book in the, you know, um, not the priest, but the person would read at church. So, I kicked that away, which I'm like, well, we gotta go down here. Come on. So basically, we headed down and such, and then basically the whole entire Rhaenyra will be telling Ozzy like they're coming. Well, it's like basically the cutie and basically the pervert's coming to save you. She was like, huh? Wait, why? It was like, call it basically a friend thing. Probably the one that basically is called Riku Agani. He doesn't understand why he's doing it, but he wants to. And the other one just wants to basically do it because he's basically a good person. Believe it or not. Which is Issei. Which she would nod. Which basically she was like, well, I'm planning to give them back your sacred gear anyways after basically I get a good fight. So don't worry. But she's like, wait, what? So yeah, so basically when we get there, that's when we hear. Obviously, I'm like, me and Issei say, Azia! Which basically Rhaenyra looks and smirks like, told ya. Which Azia's like, Riku! Issei! And basically, like, there's like these people that are looking at us. Rhaenyra look at them like, alright, basically, people, let them basically give them a warm welcome. Let's give them a warm welcome. Yeah, once they have their light swords out, basically me, Issei, Kiba, and Kono jump into the... Well, I jump into the fight first, having my sword out immediately, basically fighting off, basically, people, basically kick them away, dodging, slashing at their swords, kicking them. Konako jumps in along with Kiba, Issei just kind of shocked, but then snaps out of it and, jumps in. So, the fight takes a little bit. I basically can move fast, but the fact is, I don't want to get in the way of Kiba, Konako, and, Issei, so they're kind of holding me back in this point. Which, Azia basically would have her sacred gear stolen, as I'm like, Azia! And then I subconsciously activate Conqueror's Haki. So basically, a lot of them fall down, which Kiba, Konako, and Issei are shot. They feel like they're a little bit weary, but, they're able to still stand. Rhaenyra's just basically smirking, and, like, interesting. You're very interesting, Hagane. And basically she takes the secret and, flies away. Which I go over, basically cut down the, chains, catch Azia. Like, basically I'm just like, gotta get you out of here. Which, basically she's like, hi Riku. I'm like, come on, don't speak, Azia. You're gonna be fine. So, in a sense, I'm running up. Basically, even though the guys are unconscious, some of them are conscious, some of them, well, a lot of them are unconscious, some of them are getting up, which basically kind of go like, Issei, go after Hagane. He was like, alright. He shakes off basically whatever, that was affecting him, and runs after. So, in a sense, basically, me and Ozzy get up there, so basically I put on a pew, basically a seat, basically put her down, I'm like, hey, sorry I never got to see you after basically the church. She goes, yeah, you could have hanged out with me and Issei today. I'm like, yeah, I wasn't in school, so I could have. Look, don't worry, we're gonna get you back. They're sick, you're gonna be fine. She's like, I hope. Issei comes over, goes like, Azia, he runs over. And so Azia's looking at Issei. She's like, hi, Issei. He goes, hey. Basically, he's like, Riku. I'm like, I know. She's like, basically, Azia's looking at us both, me looking, a little bit angry / sad, well, Issei's just sad, and basically, she's like, don't worry, you two. I'll be fine. Which I'm like, Ozzy, you don't deserve this. You, as then basically she would, she just chuckles and like, and then tells us her story, in which, basically, I just grip in basically the sheath of my sword, basically tight, as basically Issei basically is in shock and sadness, and I'm like I said, you didn't deserve something like this, nor none of this. You're too nice, you're too good, which Issei would nod, and be like, yeah, so, we're your friends, we're gonna help you out. We're gonna basically show you so many things after this. After we get your sacred gear, you'll be fine. Which she's like, really? She was, Issei was like, yeah. Right, Riku? I'm like, yeah. From now on, you and me will be friends. I'll be there. Alright? She's like, what we do, basically, say we'll do everything what we did today, and I'm like, and I'll basically help you out. Sure, I may just, like to read books, study a lot, but we can go out and hang out, see a movie, basically, go to different places, amusement park, all that stuff. She goes, if only it could happen, and, dies. Issei basically, cries and stuff. Basically, and, basically saying that she didn't need to, have this happen, which I'm just basically furious because, I wish basically some type of power I could have to help her, but Renaer would just, kind of saying like, she was always a good person, a good human. It's a shame she had this life. Which Issei, puts Ozzy down like, you don't get to say that. She was like, what are you gonna do about it, Issei? Which he's like, you're gonna pay Yuma. Like, I thought her name was Renaer. He goes like, oh, that's what I did to kill him. I basically played as a human called Yuma. I'm like, wait, Issei, you're dead? How are you alive? Which she's like, she goes, oh, simple. He was reincarnated into a devil. Which, I didn't try like, wait, devil? Devils exist? Actually, that makes a lot of sense. But she just chuckles at me. She goes, well, you're quick on the uptake. I'm like, after seeing you so many times, kind of figured devils and angels would exist. But she's like, you're just so calm about this. Why? I'm like, we have more pressing matters here. We gotta kill her or something. But she's like, right. So Issei will say he'll take her on, and, everything will happen exactly the same way for him. It's just the fact is, when he tries to, she won't run away when, her light spear is broken. She will smirk, she dodges the punch, and then immediately just punches Issei in the stomach, sending him flying as I catch him. And I'm like, Issei, you alright? He's like, she has a mean right hook. I'm like, she sucker punched you in the gut. He's like, yeah, whatever. Which, I put him down like, just rest. Also, as my right hand starts glowing, and basically, all of a sudden, because a magical spell would have came to me, basically it's called Cure, or, well, in this case, Heal. As basically, all of a sudden, Issei's wounds and damage is healed. He's like, what the? As I take out the sword and I get into my stance, I'm like, okay, I need to stop hitting this thing. Anyways. She's like, oh, you're gonna fight me? He was like, I got no choice. She goes, oh, give me a good fight. As basically a light spear. Suddenly, she makes a light spear, then it suddenly changes into a sword, which I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. She goes, thank you, learned it recently. I'm like, yeah, let's dance. I don't say dance. I say, yeah, let's dance. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. So in a sense, yeah, we usually start fighting. Every attack we're hitting for some reason. I know her light, basically sword should break, but it's not. Basically, it's like basically clashing of weapons and such. Basically, I dodge an attack, I used to try to hit her, then I basically even try to kick her, but, nothing happened. So, in a sense, she's like, well, you're getting pretty good, but what happened to those, basically, weapons you summoned and basically can teleport to? I'm like, which obviously I'm having some more powers being given to me, and, wow. I'm actually kind of smirking, like, don't really need them when you got something like this. And she's like, huh? All of a sudden, basically, I pulled out basically my hand and shoot a blast, key blast out of it. And she dodges, she's like, she dodges it barely. She basically thinks herself a new power. Huh, interesting. As then basically all of a sudden, I don't know, basically I wouldn't know everything about it, but the fact is I can't use knife, I can only use key. So I'm like, let's get this, let's keep going. So, in a sense, I'm just moving faster, enhancing myself, and basically, after a good couple of minutes of fighting, I would dodge an attack, and all of a sudden, basically, wow. I had this one thing that I came into my mind. Give me a minute. Hey, it was all of a sudden when I land, basically, I just get basically this name called Nen and what it can do, and I know a character that basically will help me as it's Killua. So basically, all of a sudden, basically, lightning starts coming around my hair, standing up a bit, which basically Issei is just like in shock as Konako and Cuba came around. They're in shock, and she was like, "Oh, what's this called?" He goes, "This is Godspeed. Try to keep up." So in this sense, yeah, she doesn't keep up for crap. I just don't use my sword, I use my fist. Basically, besides then I punch her center front into a wall, she basically coughs up basically blood. She was like, wow. I'm like, so, you finished? She was like, yeah. Basically though, I'm like, give me the, basically, her sacred, well, give me the rings or you'll. And she just froze them to me. As I caught them, I'm like, what the? As the power was deactivating, she was like, well, it's been fun. As basically she just then all of a sudden basically has, well, the light spear starting glowing bright, and then she hits the ground with it. Never basically flash, but she basically flashed through the window as, Rias and Akino running in. Well, I know Rias would just run in because Akino's cleaning up. She's like, what happened? And huh? As I'm looking at, I'm just blinking, then I look at the sacred gear and just sighing because I caught them with my with my left hand. I'm just like, well, that was pretty good. But Nen's really pretty good power. I should try to learn it. Well, if I can, at least I get access to that power at least. So yeah, so in a sense though, I go over, put basically the rings on basically Asia's fingers, and I'm like, this won't bring her back. Man, if only I knew something like necromancy or something. I'd go to the underworld, bring back her soul. As basically the sword disappears, and, well, Issei basically saying, yeah, and then he remembers, wait, Rias! He looks at Rias like, basically, Rias, you can bring her back to life, right? Where she's just saying, Issei, I can't. I mean, besides, it's not like I can, but I don't think it'd be a good idea. Which I'm like, well, for some reason my instincts are just telling me to tell her this. I'm like, well, to be fair, she has like basically healing properties where her basically, her rings on her finger can heal anyone. As she basically says she healed a devil once with them. Which her eyes wide and she says to herself, Twilight healing. So, she just smirks and you're like, well, Issei? I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think I would want to, but to let an opportunity like this to be wasted, I'm like, oh, and Rias, when she looks at me, goes, you wanted to basically save Asia, but the fact is she was part of the church. That's the reason why you were so reluctant, weren't you? She just blinks and she goes, how do you know that? I'm like, you're a devil. It's kind of obvious. Which her eyes wide goes like, you weren't supposed to. I'm like, I came here and I fought not straight devil, I fought basically a fallen angel. And basically Rainier told me about basically Issei, so it kind of makes sense I would know the rest. And put pieces together on my own. Which she sighs and she thinks to herself, I'm gonna have to erase his memories of this. But she just says, yes, we are devils. I'm like, alright. So, she basically will, basically bring back Ozzy back to life, Issei and I will be glad, and basically we'll hang out and stuff. So, basically, Akano would come in and Rias was saying, we have to erase his memories, but we have to do it basically when he's least suspecting it. Unknown to them for some reason. Basically, my hearing, for some of my hearing has been a lot better. Like, thinking, could be my dragon and then devil side. All my sense of smell is probably kicking in. They're probably basically getting enhanced now. Took a while. So basically though, while we're walking, you say like, finally we can get home, and Asia, I'm gonna take you anywhere basically you want to go, basically, after basically school, alright? But she's like, are you sure about that, Issei? Which he's like, yeah. Oh, and Riku! as basically he looks back, he's like, Riku? Which Akuno, Kiba, Kaneko, and Rias look, and I'm not there. Basically, even Ozzy is shocked. Which Rias and Kaneko, well, Rias and Akuno will be like, how did he disappear? Meanwhile, me on top of a building. Well, give me a minute. Okay, so I just realized not building because there was houses nearby. So yeah, so I'm a pretty good distance away, but I can still see them. I'm on top of a house, being like, flash stuff does come in handy. Since I was in danger of losing my memories, this will be a quicker way. And it's a good thing I still have this power. Then you get home. As basically, I kind of look, when I was at the new turnaround and flash stuff away, I look back and like, something just got a little bit interesting today. And there are going to be a lot more soon. And yeah, just flash stuff away, basically. I get home and such. And for the next couple of days, because I don't see nothing happens until the night before before Riser is introduced. So I'm not going to go to Familiar Forest, because for right now I won't need one. But I will basically get familiar later in the future. So Orpheus, though, and me have been hanging out, but I also been reading the book. And also I actually talked to Kendo and Mohama. So basically I'm like, hey, Kendo, not Kendo, I mean Caddis and Mohama. I said, hey Caddis, Mohama, you mind if I come by the Kendo club basically after school, and well, when you're practicing, can you help me with some things? Which I think Caddis was like, what do you need? I'm like, wow, I'm surprised you're not calm, not looking at me with disgust. Which, she just rolls her eyes, like, yeah, a lot of the girls think you're like that because, you and Issei, and then basically Issei and his friends always run by you. Well, including the girls in the Kendo club. But after we got to know you, well, in class and stuff, we told them about it. And just basically, just the two, well, plus Issei, me, who basically tries to help you out. But the two I'm like, yeah, make me basically get in trouble by association with you girls. Which most Mohama and Nan basically, and we wanted to apologize after all this time. Basically, she both cast Mohama bow. I'm like, hey, don't worry about it. Just help me out, basically, in trying to basically learn how to wield a katana or a sword. So basically, they just blink and like, okay. So yeah, I've been doing that for the past couple of days, and well, the day where Issei and Rias would, talk about, it's the day before. So everything that happened with Rias, happens along with Issei in canon. So yeah, so basically I'm just getting home. Basically I'm like, Mom, Dad, I'm back. Sorry, Kendo practice was a little bit longer than usual. Which is I hear no one, I'm like, Mom? Dad? So I walk forward and stuff, and it's like, basically I look and I see one brown hair, brown eyes, basically lady wearing basically fancy dress. Basically one man wearing a white, one man wearing, wears a white suit, has red hair, green eyes, he's a little bit of a beard. Then basically two people with black hair and basically eyes like Sonya's. Which, I'm just like, what the? And basically one of them was wearing a black, black tux, basically, with blue shirt, with a tie and stuff, and the woman's wearing basically a regular, outfit, basically, probably just a white shirt, jacket, and basically and a skirt that happens for, a job that you would wear. So basically just like an office uniform. Which I'm like, which my mom just sighs like, sweetie, we have something to tell you. And that's where we're going to leave it off, everyone. Hope you guys have a nice, rest of your day, night, wherever you are, and bye, everyone.